It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome to the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. It is Wednesday, April 17th, and so happy for you joining us. We are ready to start another day together with the Lord. So subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So today we have an exciting podcast for you. We have Health is Happiness, the Bible History Word Study, and of course commentaries, updates, and news on what is happening around the world in this history today. All right, everyone, how are you doing? And yes, it is a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Hope you guys have enjoyed your week thus far. Don't forget, tomorrow is Q&A Thursday. We have that every single week, so get those questions ready. Send them to me whenever you can. And if you haven't yet, leave a like and comment to build our community. So just super happy for everyone joining us every weekday on the Morning Star Drive. So let's get up and support each other each and every day. Now, Sunday message title for this week is Prophecy and Promise Have Been Fulfilled According to What the Time Period Has Done When the Time Came. So, it is Wednesday. It's hump day, guys. We're at the middle of the week. It's the 17th. This week is fastly, it's fast. It's moving. I'm leaving to Korea tomorrow night, and I'm getting more and more excited to go to the volleyball event. And I got to get some practice in before going, but I also have a friend visiting from Taiwan for about the next 4 days. I'm just enjoying good company, and they're leaving the same day as me from Korea, so it's it's not so hard or difficult and stuff like that too. But yeah, it's kind of busy when you have a guest. It's busy, but it's fun and it's worth it. And even for me, like my mind right now is so, what's the right word? My mind is so chaotic. No. It's not settled. That's what it is. And the reason is, so if I sound a little bit like flustered here and there, I just finished lecturing the history lecture part 2 about 5 minutes ago, right? So my mind is totally in another world. I was going over all the historical things that happened in the Old Testament time, the prophets in northern Israel, southern Judah, the intertestamental, going over the Greek period, the Roman period, just so many things in my head, right? So imagine just teaching that. And then I realize that, my schedule's busy because in about an hour and a half, I have to be going somewhere else to pick up my friend from Taiwan and stuff like that too. So it's kind of like, man, it's busy. It's so busy. So, yeah, my mind is just recovering from teaching the history lesson. Give me a second. Let me just get a sip of this coffee. Oh, right. So, one thing I'll tell you right now is this newcomer that I'm teaching, I'm only doing the history lesson for them, inspiring. So you guys have had those newcomers, right? Those, I don't even know how to those newcomers that love every piece of the word. They love every piece of it. It's so inspiring to see newcomers. They react in such a powerful way to the word, and it helps me, or it makes me realize how great the words truly are. It's like last week's message about the value, or is it this week's message? No, it's last week's message about value, right? On Wednesday, how much we value. Like when I listen to this person, the way they respond to the message, I don't even have to hear them say anything because their facial expression, that when their eyes, their eyes bug out and they're like, what? And they're like grabbing their forehead because it's so deep and they can't fully comprehend it kind of thing, right? And that's the type of newcomer that I've been teaching over the last 2 weeks over Zoom. And what's even more powerful, this person is like pastoring a church too. So for me, it's really interesting because I'm like, man, this person's so humble. They're so in love with God. And they're so humble that even though they're a pastor, they went to church, they went to seminary school, they learned all these things in church, everything else. I thought, wow, this guy is so humble. I met him just last week, and the way he soaks up the word, the way he sees things, I was just so mind blown. I really was. I was so mind blown to the point where, you know that feeling where when someone is that like a sponge, someone who's that reacts so well, you just want to teach them more, you know? Even today, after the history lesson, I would just like throw some extra, the bits and pieces, the stuff that Jesus taught Sunsteam about the Tower of Babel, or teaching about the covenant that Abraham made a mistake with, like all these things. And it's just like, you see the mind being so blown to the point it's like, what? And even for me, to see him react that way, because one of the things I think that's a little bit difficult, it would be difficult for me to realize to this point, like how I teach this guy, is because if I'm so used to just teaching members who already know the answers, a lot of people don't have the same reaction, and they're there just for the information, or they're just trying to learn it better so they can teach it too. So you don't get that mind blown reaction. But I would say one thing that's really inspiring, that's really inspired me, and it's helped me to see things more, to value the words even more deeply, is number one, doing lecture training for a campus member who's teaching every week. Like that for me is pretty powerful. Right? Like for me, like teaching that person and seeing them react to the word, that's powerful for me. Like, wow, these people are crying when I'm talking about sunstop or Peter and the fish, right? Because of the extra, like the flesh that you add onto it. And then like that inspires me, like this word is powerful. And then the second thing that's really, really powerful for me is when I teach this newcomer and their reaction, they're just so mind blown by everything that they're hearing. And I do think it's something that we should do regularly. Now, what does that mean? Regularly meaning, I think it's good for us to every once in a while sit in on a lesson, or if you're a lecturer, to try teaching someone. Because I don't know, like for me, seeing the reaction of this newcomer is just ridiculous for me. It really is, because of the situation. This guy's a pastor of a church, and I'm listening to him. I'm like, whoa, this guy loves the word. Like this guy genuinely loves the word. And I'm just like, wow, that is incredible kind of thing. So yeah, I am like really on a high right now, but also because my heart hasn't settled from doing that lecture, my mind is not fully in that place where it should be right now. So yes, like I said, if I am a little bit flustered, just forgive me, because I just finished lecturing right now. I am doing this recording, and then of course in about an hour, I'll be leaving to my next destination too. So it is quite a busy week, but it's worth it for me. It really, really is. Seeing good people, meeting good friends, lecturing, doing these things. Like tomorrow, I'll be doing my lecture training. I have a bunch of stuff, and yeah, like I'm so many things are happening, and I want to give my shout out and thanks to all the people out there that are really supporting, because you guys, there's so much support out there that just the fact that you reached out and said, hey, if you need anything, let me know. Just that fact itself. Like, I don't know if I told you guys this before, but there's a huge difference between guys and girls and what inspires and moves them, right? So they say that guys are inspired by what we see and girls are inspired by what they hear, right? So guys, like for myself, I'm not sure about, maybe I'm only speaking for myself. I am inspired by practical things. Like someone says, hey, you need to talk. Let's go meet up. Hey, let me get you this. Oh, I'll help you out with this. Like that stuff moves me. Someone says, hey, you need help, buddy? Like I'll help you look for this too. Just that practical something that someone is willing to do for me, that is inspiring. However, is not as, is like, that's way more inspiring than someone just saying, hey man, cheer up. everything's going to be okay. Like that type of stuff doesn't really do as much. And I'm thinking just because of the way my mind thinks, I'm way more physical by what I see. Someone who's willing to do something, like the action itself, rather than the words that come behind it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that I'm not at all moved by it. It's just different. And maybe the girls can talk about this in the comment section, but I do believe that girls, because they're a little bit more emotional, that type of emotional support is very important for females. Like, hey, it's okay, and they'll support you, they'll encourage you and praise you. Like these types of things are probably much more important for the females more than the guys. The guys are, for myself and from what I've noticed with the guys that I've talked to, it's more practical, something you do. Right? So when I hear people, I've had like a lot of people just say, hey, I got this space open for you if you need it. Hey, I got this for you if you need it. Hey, you need some support? I got you. I got you supported for this too. That is, even if I don't even accept it or use it, it's still inspiring. Like, wow, this person is, boom, ready to help me like this and that. And that's why I want to give a huge shout out to everyone out there who's reached out, all the people that have prayed for me and stuff like that too. I'm very, very grateful and thankful. And like for those who, especially those of you who've prayed for this channel or who are encouraging me and such too, that is a big thing, because I do know that not everyone has the capability to help me, because you're in a different country. You know what I mean? You're in a different country, or it's hard to support me in this way or that. So I just want to give a big shout out to you guys and just say, yes, very, very grateful, thankful over the last couple of days. And I hope that you guys are, I hope that everyone also gets blessed for all the things that that you're willing to do for others too. And it kind of reminds me of that verse where Jesus says, hey, I was thirsty, you didn't give me a drink. I was hungry, you didn't feed me. You didn't give me any clothes. And Jesus said, you may ask, when did I ever reject you with these things? And Jesus said, whatever you did for the least of these, you have done for me, right? Whatever you've done for the least of these, you have done for me. And I'm really, really grateful and thankful, and I hope that we can really be those that can spread the love of Christ, be more Christ-like each and every day for everyone around us, especially the ones that we love, right? Oh, and my apologies out there for the people that I vented on a little bit too strongly from last week. I'm sorry, guys. A little bit too much of an emotional reaction. That was my fault, completely my fault. But one thing I would say is relationships grow stronger with the adversity they go through together, right? So I would say everyone here, because of all the things we went through in 2023, we have grown much, much closer to each other too. So once again, very grateful, very thankful for everyone out there. Today, guys, it is Wednesday, which means the live stream for YouTube is coming out. So those of you guys who don't know, the live stream will come out at 9 a.m. in Malaysia on Wednesday and 10 a.m. in Korea. But for those of you guys in the U.S. and Canada, it's going to be Tuesday evening, 6 p.m., 9 p.m. Eastern time. All right, so I'm very, very happy about how things are running. This is going to be the 6th live stream that I do, which is quite amazing. And I'm going to, right after this, this is posted, this scheduled to, this podcast comes out, I'm going to be going straight to the church to prepare the live stream. And it should be starting within a few hours. This comes out usually at 5:30. This podcast comes out at 5:30 a.m. So in 4 hours, I will be doing the live podcast. Okay? So yeah, let's go, guys. Really excited about internet ministry. Let's get going. Make sure that we can make this podcast grow and become great in God's eyes. And you know what's kind of interesting actually? Because I'm doing more and more social media, I'm noticing the differences in TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. It's very, very interesting. So I'm noticing on TikTok, my TikToks that are more controversial, man, TikTok loves that type of stuff. Like I put up like, how should you dress for church? And that thing just goes viral. There's like 1,000 comments. Like, no, you should dress. It doesn't matter how you dress. Oh, it does matter. Oh, amen. How you dress does make a difference. Like there's people arguing about those things on my TikTok, right? But those same videos don't do the same on Instagram or YouTube, right? Like on Instagram, it's more of my funny videos. Like my funny video on Instagram is the one where I blow my nose, right? On YouTube, doesn't get much on YouTube, right? So TikTok I see is more of this controversial stuff or things that you make a statement like, no, you should be like this. And then everyone discusses it. And like how should we dress at church? And then YouTube, we're still searching to see what will be the best thing and waiting for that one viral video to go out. Yeah. Oh, really, really, something I hope that everyone else, this is something I'm reaching out to everyone else is, I will be meeting with the Internet Ministry Department in Korea when I go next week. I'm wondering if you guys have any questions that I can bring to them for the things you're curious about when it comes to internet ministry. I wonder if there's anything that you guys are curious about when it comes to internet ministry. I'm sure there's so much that is unknown too, since it's just beginning. So I know that there's some things that they can't answer also. We're just at the beginning. So please post in the comments section or give me a DM if you have any questions that I can ask to the internet ministry for next week. Now, I want to go to something a little bit more heavy, a heavier topic. I just had a good friend of mine over there in New York, and this also was posted in the comment section about family needing prayer. So I got this text message, and it said, Pastor Sky, please pray for my daughter, Emily. Her tumor suddenly grew, and they are only giving her a week left to live. We need a miracle. And this is from the New York church family. And they're a family that when I was head leading, I was their head leader and such. And I was there for their first baby. But they're asking for prayers. And I think this is something that we can do as a family together, as the MSD family, as families of Providence, of everyone here. And I can't imagine what the family is going through right now. My heart is really heavy at the moment. And this is Mike and Shirley. And this is their wonderful baby girl, Emily. And to hear that, I can't imagine what they're going through. To hear that from the doctors, that it's possible that they're only giving her a week. And I think it's something that we can pray for together. And as a matter of fact, I think I want to do a prayer for Emily right now. And I hope that, I know that some of you might be driving right now, but if we can just pray together and make this a big family prayer for Emily, I hope that we can make a miracle happen for his family too. So let's pray. Beloved God, Holy Spirit, Holy Son, Lord Jesus, we are just very grateful and thankful for the life that you've given to us in this history. We're thankful and grateful because when we look back at our lives, there are just so many blessings and so many things that we cannot help but just be so thankful. At this time, we really want to lift up your brides. There's Mike and Shirley, the parents, and their daughter, Emily, at this time, still just a baby. And they just found out that there's a tumor that's growing in her, and the doctors are saying that there's only a week left, possibly, for this baby girl to live. And we come to you, God, right now with that same shimjung, with the heaviness in our hearts, with that love in our hearts. And we pray, God, we know that you also have that same type of love for us, not wanting a single person to go to hell. And I can't imagine what Mike and Shirley are going through right now, that you will really, truly bless them at this time, that you will help Emily. And whatever it is, God, we know that the will is the most important thing, but we ask for a miracle. We truly ask for a miracle to happen right now at this time, that you can save her, that you can give the family hope and love. Help them to get through this next week together. Help them, God, so that they can support Emily really well and give her that love and that prayer. And I pray, God, that we will be those that will stick with Mike and Shirley in our prayers each and every day. I know that many people who are listening even right now have their own children. And I don't think any of us can really imagine hearing such news that there's only 1 week to live for their child. And I pray, God, that as our hearts are burdened and heavy at this time, that you will take all of our prayers and lift it up to the heavens, so God, that you can make a miracle happen. We truly pray for the best. We truly pray for a miracle. We truly pray, God, that things will happen in such a way that your history can be testified through it. Bless them, their family, bless their hearts, their mentalities, their mindsets. Help them to keep strong as they're with their daughter. And I pray, God, that we will be able to hear more and more news, and that there will be great news that comes at the end of next week. But God, we lift her up to you, that you will take care of her and that you will do what is best for her too. We thank you. We pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen. So yeah, it's really heavy that this type of thing is happening. So even in the comments section, you'll see that this prayer request was put out. I really ask that if you have time to fit maybe a 1 or 2 minute prayer at the pre-dawn time, please pray for baby Emily, right? And I'm still recording this on Tuesday, so I'm still waiting for the results of to see what's happening for Sunseam's next third court proceeding. But I'll let you guys know for the Friday podcast for that. So yeah, big prayers out. Thank you so much, Mike and Shirley, for reaching out, and our prayers are going out to you. And we really hope that we can hear more and more good news. Okay, so yeah, it's really, really heavy. Really, really heavy. I'm not sure even know. I don't even know what to say at this point. Okay, but yeah, I hope that you guys will really be able to take in everything that that you're hearing, and as one family in this history, let's really pray for their daughter Emily. Okay. So before we move into the next segment today, there's one thing. There's two announcements, which is really great. I'm super happy for also. There's actually a new podcast coming out. Not mine. This is a new podcast. It's called Absolute Faith Within. It's a new podcast coming out on Spotify, right? And these are two members from the LA church. It's going to be an audio podcast. And I'm going to let them explain to you who they are and what their podcast is about. So let's first look at what is this podcast about first, so you guys get an idea what this podcast is.
Welcome to Absolute Faith Within, hosted by Kiera Williams
and Erica Binauhan.
We're a Zennial filmmaker teacher duo passionate about mental health who came together to help people cultivate absolute faith within.
Seeing Gen Z and millennials struggle with anxiety, depression, and lack of purpose fueled our desire to start a podcast.
Join us for candid conversations on mental health, faith, love, and so much more as we explore the power of faith and spirituality in our daily lives.
Whether you are searching for a friend, advice, faith-based content, or a genuine connection, this podcast will be sure to help you develop absolute faith within.
Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to follow us online at Absolute Faith Within and visit us at absolutefaithwithin.com. See you later.
Bye.
Okay, so that is the trailer for what this podcast is actually about. I will put the information in the description below so you guys can take a look at the podcast too. I think episode 1 is already out. And now what I'm going to do is I actually asked them to do a quick interview of who they are. So you guys have a better idea of which of these members and who they are and why they're talking about this type of stuff too. So let's welcome both Kiera and Erica as they kind of tell you who they are.
Thank you so much for featuring us on your podcast, Pastor Sky. It's been really awesome listening to you over the years. So to come full circle and be featured on your podcast is really cool. So a little bit about us. I am Kiera Williams, a 24-year-old filmmaker based in Los Angeles, California. I grew up across 4 states and 12 cities. I basically moved around every other year of my life, but I think that really shaped me as an empathetic human being and really fueled my desire to, encourage people, inspire people, bring harmony and unity and, all the good things in the world. But when I came to learn the word and to know God, that really transformed my thought process, my desires and yearnings completely. It wasn't just about making people feel good, but really transforming fundamentally who they are or who people are, really, I guess, inspiring, who people can become through faith. What about you, Erica?
Thank you, Kara. Hi, everyone. My name is Erica Binauhan. I am 26 years old and currently working as a high school math teacher in Los Angeles, California. I was born and raised in the Philippines and moved to the States in 2015. Since the start of my faith journey, God has shown me tremendous miracles and helped me become the best version of myself. And of course, I'm still making myself right now. But God has surely been orchestrating my life in different ways, and I am very excited to share that on our podcast. So, Kara, what inspired us to start our podcast?
I think for both of us, the biggest motivator was a desire to inspire our generation. Right now, Gen Z has the highest level of depression, anxiety, and with that, right now, it's kind of a time where there's almost a resurgence in faith, whether that is in being, young people attending church more or even just pursuing different types of religions and spirituality. And so to be able to inspire people to develop our relationship with God and to grow in their faith has really been a motivator for us because we've all gone through those mental health struggles. At least for myself, I know when I was younger, I dealt with, depression and even had a suicide attempt, which God really was with me at that time. But yeah, just to be able to inspire our generation. And I also was listening to, this app. It was supposed to be a wellness app about, renewing the mind and recentering yourself, but it was very humanistic. There wasn't any hint of faith outside of yourself. It was only focused on the human self. And so I really thought to myself, like, it would be really cool to have a sort of meditative podcast that was centered on God and really was a balance between, the physical and the spiritual. And what ultimately solidified it was a dream that I had last year in which I was intensely listening to a sermon for content for a podcast called Absolute Faith Within. And thus the podcast was born.
We it is hard.
Yeah, and yeah, what about you, Erica? I guess what brought you on and did you, want to start a podcast before we came together?
Well, honestly, I listened to some podcasts in the past and I thought like, oh, it would be really cool to start one. I think first reason I like to talk. But what you had said earlier, we do want to empower our generation, especially with how the world is right now. So, with our experiences and with the faith that we have right now, we want to be able to really empower our generation and everyone who would be listening to it to really overcome whatever they're going through with having good faith and we having that learning to have that absolute faith within, no matter what obstacles or circumstances they face in their lives. And lastly, you have brought me into this podcast. So thank you so much, Kara. It's truly great that I can do this together with you. And I really hope that through our podcast, we'd be able to really inspire a lot of people and be able to really instill great faith in them. And then through that, they'll be able to make themselves further as we try to navigate in this crazy world we live in right now.
So, if that sounds interesting to any of you listeners, you can listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and pretty much any podcast platform out there.
Yes, be sure to follow us on our social at Absolute Faith Within on Instagram, TikTok, and visit absolutefaithwithin.com.
Thank you all for listening. And yeah, we can't wait to share and inspire faith within all of you. Please tell your friends, your family, even the people you hate. Maybe you can inspire change within them by listening to this podcast.
Yes, please be sure to send it to them.
Yes, for the lovers and the haters. Absolute faith fit. All right. Bye.
Bye.
And thank you so much, Erica and Kiera, for that wonderful interview that you guys did. So people have a better idea of who you guys are, what they're listening to, and why you guys are doing this. I think this is awesome. This is like a great start to more of internet ministry. I hope you guys will be able to listen in on their podcast too. You know, every podcast, the more podcasts there are, the more it generates interest. Right? Like we can't think to ourselves as like, oh no, I used to have all the audience for these podcasts, but now that the girls are coming in, I'm going to lose my audience. And the answer is no, it doesn't work that way. It's actually the more that come in, the better. The more that's generated, more people will start listening, right? So, you know, when you think about it, the way God is made is that when human beings when there's only one thing to look at, you know, it might only interest a certain group of people, and some people may just not have enough time. However, more and more of these podcasts keep coming out. What's going to happen? Then all of a sudden, more people are like, oh, I wonder what this one is. They'll listen to that, and then they'll listen to the other podcasts. And what happens is people begin to cross-advertise. Like they'll cross in and say, hey, can you come into our podcast? We'll do an interview with you. Hey, come into our podcast here, and we begin to mix and match with each other too. So I think it's something that's awesome. I can't wait for it to come out. I have heard the first episode already, so I hope that you guys will listen to it too. That is Absolute Faith Within on Spotify. The details will be in the description below. That is Kiera and Erica. I know both of them very well, and they are so awesome. So I hope that you guys will get into that. Now, another thing that's kind of awesome is this, guys. At the same time, there is a brand new song from the Sumney Boys. Sumney Boys, brand new song. I can't wait. This is great. I heard it a couple times already. The song is called Right Now Is Important. I'm going to first let the Sumney Boys introduce this song to you and how this came about. So guys, here's the Sumney Boys with the intro to Right Now Is Important.
Hey everyone, I know it's been a while, but we just want to let you know, the Sumney Boys, we still here. We really appreciate everyone's love and support, and we want to show you guys some love. So here's a new song from the next album, Right Now Is Important. Enjoy.
Breaking down the barricades, you know we coming through. They think they got us all surrounded, but you know we bulletproof. Boom! Never fall for deception, defeating God's nemesis, Satan. I'm like Tom Clancy, that they can catch me stealthy. It's so healthy, the opportunity doesn't come back. Just because you miss it, there's no glory without sacrificing. You better fit your position. My life's not perfect, but I'm always resurrected. Now determines the future more than any time. I gotta make it. Day or night, right now is important. Young or old, right now is important. Realize that right now is important before it's too late. Time is up. Every day I gotta go, yeah, I gotta move right now. It's important. I do well, trying to catch my dreams. I'm never giving up right now. It's just time shine, don't mess it up.
Right now we gotta do what we gotta do. We can't let nothing hold us back, we gotta move. God will always keep his promises to us. We can't just hope and talk and dream, that's not enough.
You will receive according to what you have done. If we don't reach to heaven, that will not be fun. What you have done ain't what happens now. What you are doing now will make what happens in the future. Gotta stick to it. They can lie, they can cheat, and they can slander, but this history will not stop and keep going. We have to stay together. It's such a loss you fail to recognize the Messiah too late. It's either the path of life or death, so pick your fate.
Right now is important, right now is important. Right now is important, right now is important. Right now is important, right now is important. Right now is important, right now is important.
Yeah, now's an important time. Now's an important time. Check your thoughts right now. Check your thoughts right now. Now's an important time. Now's an important time. Check your thoughts right now. Check your thoughts right now. Now's an important time. Now's an important time. Check your thoughts right now. Check your thoughts right now. Now's an important time.
man, what an amazing and awesome song. That is Somebody Boy's brand new song that just dropped. This is Right Now Is Important. Hope you guys loved it, enjoyed it. I can't wait for I can't wait for more of this stuff to come out. They got an entire album. So guys, they need your support. They do have a YouTube channel. I will be posting this music video on here a little bit later today, so you guys can take a look at it yourselves too. But yeah, that is Somebody Boys Right Now Is Important. What a new song that just dropped. Hope you guys really, really enjoyed that, okay? So let's get into our second segment for today, which is the Bible history word study, and this is every single Wednesday. And we're going to be going into Genesis chapter 36 from this point, and we're doing roughly around 4 to 5 chapters a week, okay? Chapter 36 there isn't really much going on because it's just Esau's descendants, right? And it's kind of funny that one of his father-in-laws, his name is Elon, like Elon Musk. So I guess Elon Musk got his name from Esau's father-in-law. It's basically just his lineage, right? So you kind of read through chapter 36, you'll see, and Elon had, Esau had 3 sons, and these 3 sons had these sons, and those sons had these sons. It kind of goes in from there. But from chapter 37, we go into Joseph's story, okay? So we already did Jacob. We already did, before that, we did Isaac and Abraham. And we're now getting into the final, kind of the major figure out of the patriarchs, right? The patriarchs is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Those are the patriarchs. And what we know is that Abraham was the one that set the condition for the entire time period to starting God's history. It was Isaac who set the individual condition. It was Jacob that started the family condition. He's the one that actually fulfilled the family condition, had the 12 tribes of Israel. And then it's Joseph is the one that fulfills the national condition, okay? So the first thing you hear about Joseph, and you're going to kind of get an idea why his brothers maybe didn't like him so much. The first thing you hear about Joseph is Joseph comes in from the field and he tells his father a bad report about his own brothers. Remember, he's the only son of Rachel. All the other 10 kids, right? He's number 11. All the other 10 brothers are from either the maidservants or Leah. Leah has 6 of them, right? So it's like 6, 2, 2, 2. 6, 2, 2, 2 in the end, right? 6, 2, 2, 2. And eventually Rachel has another son, right? But basically he comes in from the field and tells a bad report about his own brothers. So you kind of already see that this is the runt of the family. He's the youngest, probably picked on here and there, and he's the one telling on his brothers and stuff, right? And you kind of get to see why his brothers kind of didn't like him. On top of it, which makes it even worse, is his father loved him the most and probably listened to him more than all the others. He's the one that gets all the gifts and treated the best, right? And take it right now, he's only 17 years old. He's still a teenager, right? So when we move on from this, the beginning of Joseph's story, we see that he has 2 dreams. And this is from verse 6 through 11. The first dream, there's everyone is binding sheaves of grain. And then his sheaf rose and stood upright while the other sheaves gathered around my sheaf and bowed down to it. And then his brothers basically interpreted right away, do you intend to reign over us? Will you actually rule us? And they hated him all the more because of his dream and what he had said. Then the other dream is the one that we know the most, is about the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowing down to him. When he told his father rebuked him and said, what is this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you? His brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the matter in mind. One thing that's very cool, and one of the reasons why this verse is very popular in Providence, is because this is a verse where the sun, moon, and stars prophecy is interpreted. Because remember, it wasn't even just his father Jacob who interpreted, even the brothers were able to interpret. It's that simple back in those days. Remember that first dream is like, oh yeah, there's sheaves of grain, and yours all bow down to mine. Brothers instantly interpreted to, do you really think we're going to be the ones that are going to bow down to you? So they were able to interpret it right away. The second dream, sun, moon, and stars, even the father straight up was like, no, I know what the dream means. Right? I guess it could be just our generation is not as spiritual, right? We don't know the words very well because they listen to a dream and instantly interpret it. And when we have dreams, we don't instantly interpret it. We kind of think to ourselves, what does this mean? I wonder what this means. I wonder what this means, right? So if you think about it, you gotta wonder how much Joseph rubbed his brothers the bad way. Because remember, even that first string, you know what in verse, was it 7 says? It's like, verse 8, they hated him all the more because of his dream. So there's just one on top of the other, he is being hated, right? He's being hated. Just one thing on top of the other, telling on them, Father loves him more, giving him a gift of that nice coat and stuff like that too, better gifts, always taking his side, better treatment. And if you really think about it, Jacob, their father, is probably treating Rachel better than all the other moms. So you got to understand that there is a lot of resentment. And Leah was the one that bore 6 sons for Jacob, but the love goes to Rachel, who only bore 1 son. And back in those days, it's the one who gives the most sons or the most respected kind of thing, but it was only Rachel. So what happens is where we get into the point where they're going to start selling their brother off, right? But if you guys know what they were actually going to do, they hated their brother so much, they were ready to kill him. Reuben, the firstborn, he is the one responsible for all things with his brother, and that's why he thinks about things in a more responsible manner, but he had a conscience, and he's like, let's not kill him. Everyone, come on, guys, let's not kill him. Let's just throw him in the cistern, right? Like a little small well. So he protected Joseph and made sure he wasn't killed. So they put him in a cistern. Joseph can't get out. But while Reuben was away, they sold their brother into slavery. When Reuben came back, he was devastated because he's the one that has to explain to his father what just happened. And of course, they had to, try to prove to their dad something different. So they dipped his coat in blood and then showed their dad. And man, if you see the reaction of Jacob, remember, it's the only son of the wife he loves so much. So I can't imagine even what Rachel's thinking is too. That not only is Jacob devastated, but Rachel's only son is gone also. She must have been heartbroken. The only son she had. And that's where chapter 37 ends. In chapter 38, it kind of goes off, right? So it's no longer about Joseph's story or even Jacob, but Jacob's other, one of the brothers named Judah. And this is about Judah and Tamar. Now, remember, why is Judah so important? Judah is important because that's where the Messiah comes from, the lineage of Judah, the line of Judah. And this is where you get to see how important the bloodline is, right? So especially in God's eyes, when you know that the Messiah will come from this lineage must continue. It has to. So Judah had 3 sons, and Tamar was his firstborn's wife. However, he dies. And then what's supposed to happen is the second son is supposed to fulfill the duty of the firstborn. So he's supposed to have a child with his wife Tamar. But the second son is wicked and he doesn't want to do it, and he dies too. So the only one left is the youngest son, right? But Judah tells Tamar to wait for the youngest son. But she knows it's not going to happen. And this was actually Judah's intention. He didn't want to give his youngest son. And one of the reasons is because every person with Tamar dies, right? He's like, I don't want my youngest son to die, right? So Tamar later disguises herself as a prostitute, sleeps with her father-in-law, and gets pregnant. Later, Tamar is found pregnant and guilty of prostitution, right? But she actually slept with her father-in-law. Judah is very upset, and he's like, whoever this is, they're going to die. But later finds out it is him. So in verse 26, Judah recognized that she had his stuff and said, she is more righteous than I, since I wouldn't give her to my son Shelah, and he did not sleep with her again, which means that he had the intention not to give his younger son to her, right? So this is where you know he had bad intentions, not to continue his lineage and bloodline through Tamar. And Tamar knew it, and that's why she disguised herself as a prostitute. And she knew that Judah would not give his youngest son to her. And this is why Tamar is actually in Jesus' genealogy. Is it either Matthew or Luke? You're going to see Tamar in it because she did a righteous thing. Why was it righteous for her to disguise herself as a prostitute? Because she prolonged the bloodline of Judah, which is the bloodline of Jesus, right? Eventually she had twins, Perez and Zerah, right? And through that lineage is going to be Jesus, right? So you have to understand, this is how big and important the bloodline is that God sees that as righteousness, that she's the one that continued it, and the only way she could do it was to deceive her father-in-law, right? And that's why even Judah was like, you are more righteous than I am, because you know, and I know that I would not have given you my youngest son, but that's what I'm supposed to be doing to prolong the lineage, right? The line of Judah has to continue, or else Jesus will not come about, right? So let's move into chapter 39. In chapter 39, we get back to Joseph's story, where Joseph is sold into slavery to Potiphar. Right? Potiphar is an official of Pharaoh. So he buys Joseph, and since God was with Joseph, and this is something that you'll see a theme coming up, God is with Joseph, so whatever Joseph does, it prospers. And eventually Potiphar begins to see that he's blessed by God and makes him the chief attendant entrusted with everything to Joseph, which means he didn't have to worry about anything and Joseph took care of everything. However, as he grew handsome and sturdy, or whatever you want to call it, the wife comes in to the picture because very manly and handsome. And day after day, she keeps wanting to sleep with him. And day after day, Joseph rejects her. And then, of course, there's that infamous day where when you look at the situation from the outside, there's just too much room for misunderstanding and knowing the power and authority that the wife had, right? So she grabs a cloak. The house is empty and says, sleep with me now. Joseph takes off his cloak, just runs off naked. He does the right thing. But she accuses him and tells the servants. But what can the servants say? She's the owner. She's the boss. And Potiphar is furious and sends him to prison. Thank God he didn't kill him, right? Once again, God shows favor to Joseph. And Joseph is now entrusted by the warden. He's now in charge of all the prisoners. He's someone who is basically, he basically succeeds in everything because God is with him, right? So from this point on, the warden gives him full power and says, okay, as long as you're in charge of all these things, then he was able to allow, the warden could be safe, right? And this brings us into chapter 40, and we know the story about the cupbearer and the baker, right? So the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, the Pharaoh, they offended him, okay? And Pharaoh's so pissed that he sent these two officials, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard. And this is the same prison where Joseph was, all right? And both of these men had a dream. And it was on the exact same night. And Joseph came to them next morning. He saw that they were like, wow, we have, they were uncertain what it actually meant. And they're like, we had dreams, and Joseph interprets them, right? So the cupbearer's dream was he saw a vine, and on the vine were 3 branches. As soon as it budded, it blossomed and clustered its ripened grapes, whatever it is. And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes, squeezed them into Pharaoh's cup, and put the cup in his hand, right? And basically, Joseph is like, guess what? Those 3 branches symbolize 3 days. In 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your position. Cool, right? And when all goes well, please remember it was me that translated this for you, right? Then the chief baker, he's like, whoa, this guy gave a really, really favorable interpretation. He's like, oh yeah, I had a dream too. On my head were 3 baskets of bread. In the top basket were all kinds of baked goods for Pharaoh, but the birds were eating them out of the basket on my head. What this means, Joseph said, is 3 baskets are 3 days, and within 3 days, Pharaoh will cut your head off and impale your body on a pole, and the birds will eat away your flesh. And 3 days later was Pharaoh's birthday, and it happened exactly as he said. Exactly. However, the chief cupbearer, as it says in verse 23, the last verse, it says, did not remember Joseph and forgot him. So that's kind of where we get to from this point for how many chapters did we do? We started from chapter 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. We did 5 chapters today. It was pretty quick, pretty fast. But that's, Yeah, that's basically what's happening there. So that's the 5 chapters. That's Bible history. Hope you guys really enjoyed that. If you have any questions, go ahead, leave them for me too. Or if there's any questions you have from those verses, let me know also, and I'll try my best to answer them for tomorrow's Q&A Thursday. Okay? So before we get into the last segment for today, which is Health is Happiness, let's get into the last music break of the day.
You lift me up from falling, I feel your warm embrace, breathing life into my withering spirit, pouring out your love and grace. So I think to myself, I'll repay you. Ooh, oh. You pulled me out of darkness so many thousands of times. You gave me strength and courage, everything that I need in life. Look at all the countless blessings, I'll repay you. Ooh, oh. Even if the world forsakes you and they misunderstand what it means to be in providence, holding God's truth in our hands, we fulfill the greatest history, God's will and highest love. All the wondrous miracles you've shown, only here in Providence. Providence, push forward, we'll run till the end. With our solid faith, we'll repay you with all our heart, will and life. And now the seals are broken, the treasures now revealed. You've shared his highest wisdom, valued secrets of how to live. Looking back at all the memories, I'll repay you. Ooh, oh. Even if the world forsakes you and they misunderstand, what a blessing it is that you're here, acting with God hand in hand. We've received the greatest rapture, we've gained eternal joy. This is God's final history, never will it be destroyed. Providence will shine our brightest light. For your dreams, your word fills the earth. Yeah, we'll preach, gain all that you want to achieve. Even if the world forsakes you and they don't understand, we're more than proud to be here, holding God's truth in our hands. We fulfill the greatest history, God's will and highest love. Your words, your precious providence, we'll cherish it till the end. Providence, we'll stand till the end. Providence, we'll live with our God. Providence, love God with our heart, will and life.
Okay, so now that we've finished the Bible history word study for today, let's get into the final segment. And every Wednesday we do have Health is Happiness. We're going into injury prevention segment for the next, it's a total of 6 weeks, and we're on week 2 right now. And this Yen Yu, she is studying physiotherapy. I think she's graduating really, really soon. And she's going to talk about lower back pain today, all right? So all the way over there from Singapore, this is Yuan Yu with Health is Happiness.
Hello everyone, my name is Yuan Yu and I'm from Singapore. I'm currently finishing up my studies in physiotherapy. On today's topic, I'll share more about low back pain. I'd like to give thanks to the Holy Trinity for this opportunity, as well as Julius and Pastor Sky for this platform. Firstly, what? There are different definitions of low back pain depending on the source. According to the European guidelines, it refers to low back pain or lumbar back pain, which is pain and discomfort localized in the area of the back that starts below our rib cage, with or without leg pain. For the anatomy, our lower back consists of the lumbar spine, which is between the end of our rib cage all the way to the top of our hip bone. In between each spinal segment, which is also known as a vertebra, there are small discs which act as shock absorbers to absorb and support our body's weight. Surrounding these spinal segments are ligaments and muscles which support our body's weight too. For the prevalence of low back pain, this group of conditions known as musculoskeletal conditions, it refers to conditions that relate to the performance of our movement, and it comprises things like muscles, bones, joints, and adjacent soft connective tissues. So within this field of musculoskeletal conditions, low back pain is the leading cause of disability in majority of countries. Disability refers to anything that affects your daily life. Low back pain also affects nearly 60 to 80% of people throughout their lifetime. And although low back pain can be quite debilitating and painful, in approximately 90% of cases, it is temporary and the pain can improve without surgery. However, 50% of people who suffer from an episode of low back pain will have recurrent episodes within a year. Moving on to the types. There's a few ways to categorize. One way is the duration of the back pain. So it can be categorized into acute, subacute, and chronic low back pain. Acute low back pain is an episode of low back pain that lasts for less than 6 weeks. Subacute is an episode between 6 to 12 weeks, and chronic is an episode of 12 weeks and more. Another way of categorizing is according to which structures are being involved. For instance, muscles being strained can be involved, disc being affected can be involved, there can be ligaments, and the vertebrae bodies itself can be involved. But in order to diagnose it to this extent, you will need to see a doctor or a general practitioner to get it diagnosed. And it may require diagnostic tools such as an X-ray. Moving on to the causes, low back pain can be caused by a few things. One thing can be due to trauma, an accident, a fall, a sports injury. It can also be due to something a bit more over time, something more gradual. For instance, you carried something too heavy or you moved your back too much over a period of time. And also there are more serious pathology due to things like arthritis, cancer, infection, etc., which I'll delve on a bit more later. And some risk factors for low back pain include being overweight and being sedentary. This is because if you weigh a bit more, then your structures of your body have to support more weight and are under more stress. And if you're a bit more sedentary, you don't really exercise, then generally speaking, the structures in your body, like your muscles and your ligaments, aren't that strong to support your body's weight. Moving on to the symptoms. Symptoms can range from a dull ache to a stabbing or shooting sensation. And For serious conditions, they account for 1 to 2% of people with low back pain, and about 5 to 10% present with conditions that link to neurological involvement, which means the nerves are involved. Okay, so what this means is that for a small percentage of people who have serious pathology, some symptoms to look out for are, for instance, having back pain with bowel or bladder control problems, having back pain with a loss of sensation in your groin area or in other areas, having diffuse weakness in your arms or your legs, or having a fever. So if you have any of these symptoms, that is considered a red flag, and you should definitely seek healthcare professional advice. And another condition that you should likely seek medical advice is if you had back pain after a fall or an injury or a traumatic incident. And with regards to nerve involvement, if there are any pain, numbness, pins and needles that run from your buttocks down to your leg, then this likely highlights that there are some structures in your back that are compressing or they're irritating the nerves. So this could be one of the major nerves which run down your leg called the sciatic nerve. That's why there's this condition called sciatica. Or it could also be other nerves such as the nerves closer to your spine area, which are known as spinal nerve roots. Hence, if any of these nerves are involved, then you're likely to get more nerve-related symptoms such as numbness and pins and needles or pain that run down from your buttocks to your leg. Okay, secondly, I'll talk a bit about treatment. Irregardless if it's a serious or not serious cause of back pain, it is always good to self-monitor. Self-monitor the location, the onset of the pain. When did it start? Was it after a certain incident? Was it after that you did something out of the norm, right? And monitor the pattern. Is it only aggravated on movement? Is it constant throughout the day? Is there no pattern to it? And also monitor what are the aggravating and easing factors, meaning what makes it worse and what makes it better. If it is not of a serious pathology, it will likely get better on its own in 4 to 6 weeks. Management for such cases of low back pain without serious pathology include self-management with non-pharmacological methods. This includes education and exercise. Education refers to what we spoke about earlier on, which includes the different causes, the symptoms of low back pain. And for exercise, I can delve a bit more into that. In the initial stages, if let's say it's very painful, moderately to severely painful, you can also use a heat pack to reduce the pain in the short term. Guidelines promote the avoidance of bed rest or complete rest, and they recommend a continuation of activities, your usual daily activities, as tolerated. One way to know how much you should do and how much you should rest is this traffic light analogy. If let's say pain score 0 to 10, right? 10 being very painful, 0 being not painful. If let's say the pain you rate it about a 0 to 3 out of 10, then it is like a green light. You can continue doing what you need to do within that tolerable mild pain. But if the pain increases to 4 to 6 out of 10, that is like an orange light. You probably want to do a little bit less. You probably want to rest a little bit more for now. And if it's 7 to 10 out of 10, then that is a red light. You probably should take a rest first before continuing with your activity. And if it's that painful, then I think it would be better to seek medical advice too. So one can try with the above, being able to continue with your activities as tolerated and exercise, and review the progress in about 1 to 2 weeks. When to see a doctor, especially if you had a traumatic incident, like an accident, a fall, a sports injury, or if it worsens over time. If let's say you did what you could do within that 1 to 2 weeks, but it worsens over that period of time, then yes. Or if you have any neurological nerve-related symptoms like numbness and pins and needles or any of the red flags, then you should see a doctor. Okay, and if your low back pain persists for more than 12 weeks, which is more chronic back pain, exercise is still recommended as the first line of treatment, and should also be considered as something routine, something that you should do more so in the long term to manage the back pain. But what is also recommended is more gradual or more gradual exercise, because chronic back pain likely means that it might be a bit more painful. You had it for a longer period of time. So you probably want to ease into activity, ease into exercise a bit more slowly. For some exercises that you can do, there are many online if you search, but I'll highlight the key ones. If let's say you're in a lot of pain, then some easier ones that you can do are knee rolls, where you bend your knees, you're lying down, and you roll your knees from side to side, which is rotating your trunk, your torso. Others include knee to chest, bringing your knee to your chest and bending your back in that manner. A gentle cobra stretch, where you move your back backwards, or even standing up and bending down to reach your toes, bending backwards to reach your back, or bending to the side. Other exercises that are a bit more advanced include the cat-cow, pelvic tilt, cobra stretch, and some strengthening exercises for the core include things like crunches, dead bug. Yes, you can go and search up how to do it. It's a really good exercise. And for the back, to strengthen the back, include back extensions, also known as Superman. Then for cardio exercise, which also helps with back pain, you can do things as simple as walking, all the way to jogging, swimming, etc. For other methods of treatment, such as acupuncture, there's limited evidence to show that it's effective for low back pain at the moment. And for medication, if you would like to get over-the-counter pain reliefs, things like NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs are better, muscle relaxants, but paracetamol is not recommended as seen in research. And for things such as injection and surgery, doctors will only consider that if conservative treatment fails. Okay, last but not least, I'll delve a little bit more on prevention, how to prevent back pain. When you're carrying heavy things, it is good if you can use something that distributes the weight across both shoulders, like a backpack, as compared to using like a tote bag or a duffel bag, which only puts weight on one of the shoulders. Or you can even use like a wheeled trolley or suitcase to carry those heavier weights. And with regards to carrying posture, if let's say you want to carry something very heavy from the ground to like waist level or onto a higher surface, then it's better to squat, take the object, and then lift it up, as compared to keeping your legs fairly straight and then bending your entire back down to carry it. Then also you can avoid prolonged posture, meaning that if you're sitting down and you tend to, for instance, slouch, then every 30 minutes to 90 minutes do get up, stretch around, or do change your posture, sit more upright, lean against your chair. Okay. Thirdly, you can also do, I'm on the fourth point. You can also do strengthening exercises such as core and back exercises, which we mentioned earlier on. And fifth, things like lumbar support, ergonomic adjustments can help, but fundamentally, the above ways are more superior. Okay, with that, we've come to the end of this episode. I hope it wasn't too dry and it helped you to understand a bit more about low back pain and what we can do to prevent it or to treat it if we're having any low back pain. With that, I've come to the end of the episode. Any questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. And take care, everyone. Let's continue to keep up the good work and taking care of ourselves physically, mentally, and spiritually. Goodbye.
And thank you so much, Ian, for another wonderful episode of Health is Happiness. Yes, lower back pain is something that as we get older, it becomes a lot easier to have this type of pain. I do get it every once in a while when I play too much sports at once, but very, very grateful and thankful. Hope you guys learned a lot from this too and make your life even more healthier. Why? Because health is happiness. All right, it is Wednesday. I hope you guys enjoy your Wednesday service tonight. Have a wonderful and awesome day, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and feel your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the Morning Star Drive.